Hello and welcome to another BlenderWiz video tutorial. This is the 8th part of the 1957 Ford Thunderbird series. In this tutorial, we are going to model the windscreen, the wing windows, and the wheels. We will begin by quickly creating a windscreen and the bezel that goes around that, then continue on to working on the wing windows that are attached to the door. Next, we will create a low poly shield under the car to make the car look solid. While we are doing this, we will model the inside of the wheel wells. Finally, we will finish off by creating a set of wire wheels along with the tire. So we're going to start modeling out the windscreen and the bezel around it. So what we should do is duplicate this rim here. Hit P, separate by selection. Let's go ahead and hide, or just hide the body. That way we can see this rim here. I want to bring it down along the Z axis and out a little bit along the Y. And then just hit E to extrude and make it fit this shape here. Let's see. Delete any extra vertices like those ones there. They're in the way. And will eventually screw you up. Okay. Okay. And just model like so. This shape can be a little bit complicated, so if you don't get it the first time, don't worry. But this is going okay. Okay, and let's throw in a few more polygons. Okay, so that's coming along pretty nicely. Ooh, gotta work on that a bit. Okay. And I'm actually just gonna hide the rest of the items. Okay, so even though this is a convertible, or the one I'm doing is going to be a convertible, we still have this wing window. Instead of being attached to the roof though, or at all attached to the roof, it's completely just stuck into the door. Actually, I think it might be that way on the ones with the roof as well though. So we still get to model out this little hole there. So let's see, where should we begin? Let's throw in a loop cut here and here. Just pull these ones back in line with that edge there. I'm going to sharpen this up. That looks fine. Okay, so that's looking decent. Actually, what we probably could have done, made it cleaner. Delete this back edge. I'm going to try something. Let's make it the full width. Bring those down. And then just run a quick loop cut there. And we can just delete. what isn't needed, like so. That makes it look pretty clean. Let's delete some of these extra loop cuts here. There. That's pretty good looking. And now we have a bit more control. Okay. Next, if we go into side view mode, let's unhide the body. Kind of want to smooth these out a bit. These ones, well, no. Oh well. Run a quick loop cut down through the middle there, because if you notice, this seems to bulge out just a little tiny bit, and I want to give it a slight bulge. Something kind of like that. Let's go into side view. Actually, what we could have probably done is just scale that up a tiny bit. Okay, so that looks pretty good. We need to sharpen this one up there, and let's use this loop cut to our advantage and pull it out a tiny bit and get a little bit more bulge on the headpiece there. And let's set this to smooth shading. No doubt we will need to recalculate the normals. Let's go ahead and throw in a solidify modifier. That's looking pretty good. Put that before the subsurf. It'll clean things up a bit more. I like that. I like that. Looks pretty good. Okay. And now let's go ahead and model out this wing window quickly. Let's just duplicate this edge in there. Hit P. Separate by selection. Let's hide the edge there. Gonna hide the solidify. And then okay. If we need more, we can throw in more vertices, but I'm just going to clean things up a little bit by getting rid of the extra ones. Okay. Let's smooth this and recalculate normals. Make sure that it lines up with everything. It doesn't seem to do that perfectly, but we also need to pull this one in along the X. Okay. Pull this one out. Turn back on our subsurf. Let's flip the normals and it'll line up a bit better. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. Tighten these guys up smidge. Okay, so there is the frame for our windscreen. Later on we will be filling that in with some glass and making it actually solid. Okay, so let's position our cursor in the middle. So just select the outline. Actually, let's just duplicate it and make a separate object out of it. Hide everything. I actually want to turn off background images because, as you can probably tell, this windscreen right now is just a couple of lines and that disappears pretty well. Let's turn off the solidify and get going. Okay, so let's just take these top vertices and just bring them down, and kind of has a strange curve, so I'm just gonna try to make that happen as much as I possibly can. Oops. Just bring it out toward its corresponding vertice. Then we need another loop cut right there, and one right there. Okay, so let's go ahead and bring this down a little bit more. I want to do that right there. Now we can make a quad there, another one there. And there we go. That's looking pretty good. Just want to sharpen things up. Pull these out along the X. More. Okay. Set it to smooth shading. Recalculate the normals. Unhide our bezel. As you can probably see, we've got a little issue here where there's a gap. So first let's turn on the solidify, and actually let's flip the direction of the normals and scale up the entire thing ever so slightly until it fits. Nope, maybe not. Maybe just take this top edge here, bring it back along the Y, and just hide it in the bezel. Yeah, I don't like this solidify right now. Then take this bottom edge, just bring it down into the bezel a little bit. This way we can kind of hide it. Actually, I think I'm going to apply the solidify on our bezel itself. That way we have a little bit more control, and we can just plop in a loop cut there, sharpen it up. Now we do have an issue. So unhide the mirror, or hide the mirror, and we need to come in here and delete these vertices, or these faces. So delete those faces, and then if we turn that back on, it should look nice and clean again. Okay, so there's that. That looks pretty good. Some of these vertices look like they need to get smooth, so deselect those guys, smooth vertices, and that looks good. Okay, so there's that. Let's go ahead and put in the little glass that goes in our wing window here. Though first, I'll bring these ones down a little bit more. Okay, let's apply our solidify, and a loop cut down the middle. Let's actually just select that loop cut. Okay, we just want where the glass is going to be. Let's hit Shift D, P, and separate that out. Want to scale this up ever so slightly, and now we can just come down. Or actually, if we do it along the edge, we'll have a little bit more control over it. I want to hide these. So, like that, and like that. So now we can make quads there, there, and there. Unhide that, and there we go. It's a nice little piece of glass in there. Want to take this and slide it out a little bit more along the Y. So that's looking pretty good. I think this bottom one can use it too. Okay, so there is a wing window and our windscreen, and it's looking pretty good. Okay, to make this car feel a little bit more solid, we're going to be placing a plane underneath. So go ahead and import a plane. Let's cut this in half, give it a mirror modifier. Oops. Add a mirror modifier. Bring it up, right in line like so. I know, right about to the bottom of the door. This will make up the floor of our car as well for when we do the interior work. Let's make sure that everything is on the inside of the body of the car so we don't have anything sticking out. Let's cut this in half. We're just going to create a nice wheel well here. Yeah. Like so. Bring that down. Make sure it's adequately round. Doesn't have to be perfect because it's going to be a holdout material, so no one's going to notice if it's perfectly smooth. Just as long as it's not terrible. Okay, so that's not bad. Let's go ahead and bring those two vertices out along the Y and up a little bit. Bring those two together, remove the doubles. Looks good. Let's take these two bottom vertices here, hit Shift S, cursor to selected, hit the period key. Let's take the rest of these vertices, hit E, S, 0, bring them into that center, remove doubles. Let's go ahead and throw in a loop cut. Bring those guys together like so. Okay, there is a quick wheel well there. Let's do that again to the back. So let's just bring this one back to the back of the wheel well. Just one more for safekeeping, or not safekeeping, but good measure. Bring that down. Now we need to make these line up, so select this back one. Oops, turn off, or hit comma to turn off the pivot point. So there we go. Let's go ahead here and remove the doubles. Okay. Of course, we need to clean up this a little bit more. So there we go. That's looking pretty good. Just like we did before. Select these back two here. Cursor to selected. Change the pivot point by hitting period. Select these last guys here. E, S, 0. Remove the doubles. Throw in a loop cut there. Fill in those vertices like so. And there we go. Now, because the base of the car is more narrow than the body goes, or than the body is as you go up, We just need to pull these ones out a little bit along the X. That should be good. Let's do that over here as well. No, I'm not spending too much time on this. You can spend a little bit more. It's not really all that necessary though, because in the next step, we're going to take the wheel well on the body, hit E, and then bring it in along the X. About halfway should be good. Sharpen up those edges there. That looks pretty good. Next, for the back, we're actually going to do something very similar. However, if I turn on the background images, you'll notice that there is a cover over the wheel well. So we will just be modeling that out for now. So let's just bring that out. Okay. Now, since there aren't enough vertices here on this side, and there are too many vertices over here, we're just going to have 2 triangles, and we'll just have to deal with them. Or 3 triangles. It'll still work out just fine. Okay, those are all nicely lined up now. What we do want to do though is bring these guys out along the X. Let's turn off the pivot point by hitting comma. Want to line these ones up, hit X and then 0. Maybe bring this one out as well. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. Maybe pull this one back a little bit. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. Go ahead and select all of these edge vertices there. Hit V to separate them. Let's just hide this inner wheel well there. Take this wheel well, hit E and then X to extrude along the X, and then just sharpen that one up like so. And then we'll do the exact same thing to the inner wheel well, or to the wheel cover. So let's hide the body and select our wheel well cover. Just bring those back, hit SX then 0 to line them, loop cut like so. So that's looking pretty good. Looking here, okay, that's just for sharpening. Yeah, that looks fine. Just don't want any super sharp edges that look ugly. I'm actually gonna just bring these guys up a little bit so that we can create a nice little edge under there. Okay, so that's not bad. Okay, so there we go. We've got some the undercarriage. The wheel wells look nice. It is looking a little bit more solid than it did before, so that's looking pretty good. Okay, so the exterior of the car looks like it's doing pretty well. Before we start digging in on the interior, I want to start working on the wheels. So let's go over to the second render layer. If you still have the parts for the emblems and such, I just moved them over to the last render layer because we don't really need to see them anymore. So let's go into side view mode. So on this vehicle, you can see that we have these wire wheels, which are not a lot of fun to model. But it's okay, we can do it. So what we want to do, let's begin by creating a cylinder. And I'm just going to set the number of vertices down to, I don't know, maybe 10. 10 at the top. I'm going to go with 8. And then let's go ahead and set this down to 0.5 and the depth to about 20. So this is going to be those long wire strands. Okay, next let's go ahead and select this bottom cap here, cursor to center, or to selected, sorry, and then origin to 3D cursor. This will position its origin to the bottom there. And now let's set everything to 0. I'm not going to be following our reference directly for this part, so let's just turn off background images. Okay, so here is one of our wires. I want to rotate it. Let's go about -15 degrees. So to make it clip, hold down, actually maybe 20. That one looks good. So 20. So to make it clip, you can hold down the control key. And then I'm just going to duplicate that, move it over along the Y, and rotate it to +20, like so. And right about there should be okay. So let's just move those over along the Y. Actually, that needs to get rotated one more. There we go. Lining them up perfectly doesn't matter too much. Now just hit Control J to make them one object. And I'm just going to select the middle there. Control Alt Shift C, origin to 3D cursor again. So now it'll rotate about that pivot. Next, let's create a new circle, and this will act as the center hub. So let's rotate this 90 degrees along the Y and bring it down right about there, like so, and bring our cursor to the center of that. Actually, let's move this up. Now set your cursor to the center of that object, hit period to set the pivot point to the 3D cursor. Let's duplicate this, rotate it 90 degrees. Actually, before we do that, let's give this guy some depth. So hit E to extrude, G, and then X to extrude along the X, and then just pull that back one back a little bit more. Then we can take this back cylinder, or that part of the cylinder, just move it over. That way they aren't intersecting each other. Okay, and now if we duplicate that, rotate it 90 degrees, duplicate again, 90 degrees, rotate again, 90 degrees, we can take all of these guys, duplicate them, rotate them 40 degrees, or 45 degrees, sorry. We start getting a nice pattern, and that's what we want. So that is how we are going to get our wire effect. So now let's just quickly go along and actually let's scale everything down so that it's actually somewhat similar to the size of the car. So something similar to that. Let's turn back on our background images. Set that right there to the center. Hit comma to make it centered again on this object instead of on the 3D cursor. And something kind of like that. And if you want to see more, or if you want to have more wires, which we will later, we'll make it multi-layered. I'm just positioning it for now. Okay. So that is the basic part of our wire wheel. Our wire wheels. We can make it multi-layered. So if I bring this out along the X, actually no, just scale it down. out along the X, and then duplicate all of these guys. Pull them out. They're a bit large. Anyway, yeah, just play around with this until you get a wire pattern that you like. I'm just gonna pull these out, and I'll get back to you when I have finished setting up my wires. Okay, so I'm happy with these spokes. Pretty much the same, but yeah. Anyway, my circle got deleted, so just going to create a new one, set it to 16 vertices, and rotate along the Y, scale it down right about there. Let's bring it out, over. Okay, let's create a little brake drum back there. I think that's what it is anyway. Next, let's create this little 3-point star. So bring that out, and actually, now we want a 15-sided circle here. Scale that back down. This way, it can be divided nicely by 3, so that we get 3 even stars sticking out. There's our brake drum. Okay. Okay, so let's go ahead and hide all of this back section and hide all of the spokes. Okay. And let's take these top vertices here, these vertices here, these vertices here, and scale them out. And then if we just scale them down by, or just hit S 0.25, it'll scale these sections down to pretty close to the right size. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Let's actually just take this whole thing and rotate it a little bit, like so. That way things line up a little bit more nicely. Now let's just bring this out and fill in this cap here. Give it a subsurf modifier, and now we're just going to clean this up a bit. One more to go. And let's set the shading to smooth. So there's a nice looking hub. Let's go ahead and create the rest of the rim. So let's go grab another cylinder. Set it, I don't know, 15 or 16 vertices. Rotate it along the Y 90 degrees. Let's just scale it down a bit. Scale it along the X axis. And now we're going to outline our spokes and create one more loop cut there. Let's delete these side faces. Okay. And now looking in here, there are 2 layers of indents. So let's just select both layers here. Hit E, S to scale in a little bit, and then let's do it once more. Let's see. So take this one here, E, and then scale it in a little bit further, and there is our fairly basic wheel. Next, if we look here, we need to take these edges and scale them out. So we don't want to scale along the X, so just go into front view mode, or side view mode, hit S, Shift X, and it will scale on everything except for the X. That way we can keep a nice distance. And then let's hit E, S, and then X, and bring those in. Okay. Next, let's give it a subsurf modifier and clean that up a bit. Oops, not there. Keep doing that. So that side's looking pretty good. Let's get this back side looking nice as well. Okay, and set this one to smooth as well. So there is a pretty good looking rim. Next we will be working on the tire. Okay, so we're going to dig right in with getting or creating the tire tread. So after you've found a suitable reference, import a plane. Let's scale this one down. I'm going to bring it forward. And let's cut it in half and delete one half of it and add a modifier. And of course it's a mirror. So let's just bring it up to the back of there. Then we just outline it like so. And then using the loop cuts, just outline everywhere that needs an outline or needs a cut. So just like that. And there we go. That's one there, and slide that down. I'll post a link to this reference on the site as soon as it's up. Oh, right there. Now just select everywhere that is black, hit E and then Z, just bring it up. Nope. And delete those faces, or faces only. Let's delete these edges there. Okay. And let's see. Delete those faces. There we go. Now let's add an array modifier and change it from moving along the X to along the Y. And we'll have to do a little bit of adjusting. Let's turn on merge and set this to 0.05. Just pull this back until it merges nicely. Maybe pull it out a little bit. Nope. Maybe turn the merge down just a tad. Maybe 4. Arrays tend to be a little bit picky. Merging them can be a pain. Let's bring it back. 7, 6. 5. There. That looks about right. And then we can just turn up the count. And this makes up the tire tread. So next, grab a Bezier circle, rotate it 90 degrees along the y-axis. Let's add another modifier to our tread, make it a curve, and a Bezier circle. And just find the right coordinates for it. Well, this is certainly interesting. There we go. And then if we take the circle and just scale it up, you can see that it just kind of works out nicely. Okay, so there is a nice tire tread, but you'll notice that it has no depth. So we will fix that. So just take the edge, just kind of extrude it down. Let's give it a little bit of a bulge. And over and down. So there is a quick tire. Let's move it over to the second layer. Actually, first, before we do that, let's just move it back here. Let's go ahead and duplicate it. Apply the apply this modifier there, or not. Apply, apply, apply. Scale it down. Let's move it over to the second layer. And let's go over there now ourselves, and now we'll just align it with our wheel. And let's hide this one. Oops. Cursor to selected. There we go. That should be right. And let's not set it to smooth. And if you were to add a subsurf, it would look a little bit wonky. So let's not do that. Really, unless you're doing a close-up, this is as much as you need to do. We may want to scale everything down a little bit because it looks more like a monster truck tire on that little car. And that's not quite ideal. But as of right now, that doesn't look that bad. After we scale it down, of course. Just take that, scale it down. Bring it in. There we go. So there is a nice tire, a wheel with wires. It's all looking pretty good. If we go ahead and add a mirror modifier and select the center, we can quickly set up the X and the Y, or set up both sides. Let's go over here and hide that, hide that, hide that. Actually, what we could do, now that we have this all set up, we can select that, and Control J, and very quickly we now have 2 wire wheels. Now if we select these, duplicate them and bring them back, and go back to the right side, we can plop that in there, and we've got wheels on our car. Thank you for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please like and share this tutorial. If there are any questions about any techniques or suggestions, please feel free to leave a comment. Thank you for watching. Your views are appreciated. Feel free to check out the BlenderWiz Facebook and Tumblr page.